I'm being asked to ask you, the Tottenham job, is it as attractive as we think it is? A couple of people in the way by have just said, just on the subject of the Tottenham job, does Simon think it's an attractive one at this particular stage in the proceedings?
Yeah, of course it is, for a certain grade of manager. How attractive is it for the top-end managers is a different discussion. There'll be a queue of managers that would love to manage Tottenham Hotspur, but the ambition of Tottenham Hotspur isn't to have a manager that's going to give them what they've got this season, which is a pretty poor season, which is as much on Daniel Levy as it is damn straight on the players and the manager, who all seem to get excused from these conversations. It's only one person that's to blame. That's why I keep defending it, because I hate this tactic of blaming just one individual. There's a group of people that have not produced a performance for Tottenham this season, and whilst Daniel's the standard bearer and he needs to be held accountable for it, there are also other people like Conte that should not be able to skate off into the sunset with their particular brand of BS and get away with it.
Yeah, but he's accountable.
Well, is he? He's accountable with a £3.5 million cheque and probably pop up another job telling everyone how hard done by he was at Tottenham. No, they're not accountable. They skate off. Football fans give players and managers a pass and look to someone else to blame because it's an easier solution to do so. But Daniel's got to do better. He clearly's got to do better. The argument is, can you entice, with a background noise of everybody hates Daniel Levy and Tottenham Hotspur is a club that's rudderless, and a group of managers that have told you that the squad of players that they were in part contributing to from the players that they bought were all cheats, liars and selfish. That's the last manager's observation. And some of those players, a proportion of those players, were ones that were bought by him.
Is it coincidental that certain names like Nagelsmann, Pochettino may well have communicated this to Daniel, Xabi Alonso and now Arne Slot are saying, do you know what? Maybe not. Maybe not at this stage. Tottenham, yeah, maybe not. Maybe the comments of Antonio Conte, these comments are still ringing in their ears.
We are professional. We paid, the club paid us a lot of money. The players receive money. Me receive money. You understand? Not to find excuse and don't have spirit or don't show the sense of belongings or don't show sense of responsibility, because we are showing this, and for me this is unacceptable for me, because this is the first time in my career to see a situation like this, and until now I wasn't able to change, not to change, but compare last season, the situation went to become worst. Why? I don't know, because they are used here. They used it here. Don't play for something important. Yeah. And they don't play. They don't want to play under pressure. They don't want to play under stress. Yeah, it's easy in this way. And Tottenham story is this: 20 years that there is the owner and never won something. But why?
But why? He's right.
Hypocrite. What did you do to change it then? What did you do to change it?
He's saying it can't be changed.
Of course it can be changed. Of course it can be changed.
The current structure can't be changed.
It might be, and it might take a passage of time. And do I think Daniel can do much better and should do much better? And there's lots of things that he's done that are wrong. Of course I do.
Well, maybe he did what you said you would do. Ask Levy for more money for players, and Levy said no.
Come on. Let's follow the direction of travel. I was a major advocate for Conte coming in and felt that he would be able to get from Daniel Levy certain things that others haven't. The moment he walked through the door, we had this drama. We had this constant toxicity from them. They lose against Mura in a game in the European Conference League, and out he comes with a ridiculous set of observations. In the January, after he's been there for 3 months, after they get beat by Burnley, out he comes with some ridiculous temperamental outburst, and he has the audacity to talk about, I'm a professional.
Hang on, what sort of job was Conte doing at the time?
What, to get them in the top 4?
What kind of job was he doing?
In what respect? Trying to change the direction of travel to get the club to be moulded, or the football team, not the club, the football team to be moulded in his image. And his image is someone that's temperamental, throws his toys out of the basket, jumps up and down on the spot.
You've got to look beyond that. There's a mate of mine who's a big Tottenham fan. On this occasion, I disagree with Simon. Conte was doing a great job, and I mean a great job. Everything he said was true. They were top 4 when he was binned. Only 2 points from 9 games since. What does Simon not get from that?
Okay, what do you not get from it? I mean, even the most obtuse and opaque of observers cannot suggest that he was gotten rid of. I can tell you factually he wasn't gotten rid of. I can tell you with unequivocality attached to it. Levy didn't want to get rid of him. He wanted to keep him until the end of the season.
Said, I'm out here then.
No, what Antonio did was he made it absolutely untenable. He turned round and set the whole place on fire. And he didn't do it from the point of view of trying to effect change. The only change he wanted was the change of his circumstances. He wanted to leave the football club.
But you like honesty, and he felt it needed to be said.
That's not honesty. That's disingenuity. That's engineering an outcome for himself. He wanted Levy to fire him because he didn't have the courage to turn around and say, I'm resigning. I don't want to be part of this because I don't want to not get paid. I want to get paid. And there's a lack of integrity. Do I think Levy's done his job in certain respects? No, I do not. Do I think they could do better? But I'm not having this guy, and I'm not having this narrative, not because I'm a former owner, because it's unjustified and it's unfair.
It is because you're a former owner.
No, it's not.
Because you're putting yourself in Daniel's position. You're like, what would I do in that situation?
Because all of these people that are commenting have never been in that position, and they all think they know better. Half of these Tottenham fans that would be running this football club, Tottenham would be in Kerry Street if it was down to most of the football fans, because that's the bankruptcy courts. Levy has done one thing. He stabilises football club's finances. Now, he's got to do better. He's got to get this monkey off his back. He's got to produce a team underneath him that can look like the best in class. But I'm not having these guys like Conte.
Do you think Levy's ever second-guessed, I wonder why Conte actually went? And then when he thinks why he went, he'll realise that Conte had more than a point.
I think it was, with the balance of probability, despite me being a major advocate for Conte coming in, I assumed that when Conte came in that he would understand certain aspects of the culture of Tottenham Hotspur in terms of the level of spend. Now, if Daniel Levy has brought Conte in, right, and told him a pack of lies and completely misrepresented the situation, as we are being led that perhaps the Wolves board have done to Lopetegui about financial fair play, then I would absolutely understand Conte's position. If Daniel was done an absolute bait and switch, then I'd understand it. But I don't think he has. And what Conte's gone is, don't fancy this. And this is football managers, and you lot out there don't see it.
Ooh. Well, where do Spurs turn to now? Baz is a big Spurs fan down in Surrey. Baz, good morning. I mean, where are you at with all this now?
I'm just bored of listening to Simon. He says he defends. He says he's not defending Levy, but as Simon always says, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it is a duck. And you're that duck, Simon. Honestly, it is so boring listening to it. Look at the two managers that we've had in the past, Mourinho and Conte. They both wanted players that would take Tottenham to the next level. If you get a win-now manager, you get win-now players. And we don't do that. Conte wanted Bastoni, and we ended up with Longley. Longley's a decent player, but he's no Bastoni. He's no Champions League player. Mourinho wanted someone else, and we got Joe Rodon. Defence has been a problem for 5 years, ever since Toby and Vertonghen left.
And I take it back, that's always a constant conversation that you Spurs fans, loyal Spurs fans, have, because you see it, you watch it all the time.
Of course, Tottenham fans can put up with poor football for a season if you win something, and Conte was the man to do it. But I'm a gardener. If you don't give me the tools to do my job, I ain't a good gardener. And Conte didn't get the tools he needed, and it's simple as that.
That's a very fair comment, is it not, Simon?
20 years.
So to follow your logic, Baz. And I'll try and evade the necessity to bore you further. And you're obviously being bored enough to phone in doesn't quite concur with that logic.
Come on, get on.
But the point is this. Why did Conte... So are you suggesting that Daniel Levy, who I'm just trying to put balance in the conversation rather than defend, told Conte an absolute pack of lies? Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, I believe so, yeah. Because why would you do it in the first place? Why would you get a win-now manager and not give him the tools to do it?
Precisely. So why would you get a win-now manager? Let's follow your logic through. Get a win-now manager. Don't give him anything that he wants, so you can just have an explosion. Yeah, I know, Baz. That's great logic. That's precisely what most logical people would do.
Exactly. So that would prove that if that is the case, Levy failed yet again and let another person down and let the fans down again.
But I'm not agreeing with you, Baz. You've pulled at the wrong conclusion there, mate. I'm saying your logic is not steeped in any logic. If you're an owner of a football club, the last thing you're going to do is employ somebody that you know is combustible, you know is going to hold you to account, say a bunch of things to him so that he can ultimately do precisely what Conte's done. In your logic, because Daniel Levy is the devil incarnate, he's the walking embodiment of Kaiser Solskjaer. He lies to everybody. He misrepresents things. And the reasons why I push back is not because I give a monkeys about Daniel and Tottenham Hotspur. It's because you guys talk off the top of your heads. You really do.
He does lie. Before we got Nuno, he said he wanted to play attacking football. Then he employed Nuno. I mean, what are we doing?
So when you lost to Sheffield United, was that Daniel's fault then? Was it?
No, it's the players. But it's the same players that have been at the club for 8 years to 10 years who aren't good enough. But is Daniel. He consistently gives new contracts and rewards players that don't deserve it. Simple as that.
Baz, listen, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. I appreciate your openness and your honesty as well. But we've got to get Kate. Kate's been waiting very patiently there while Baz was talking to us. Kate, good morning. The Spurs job, where should Levy turn to now?
Good morning. Lovely to speak to you both. Great show, as always.
Morning, Kate.
I totally agree with Simon regarding Conte, 100%. What I don't understand is Poch was just the obvious answer. He lives near the ground. He wouldn't have had to pay him any compensation. He took us to levels we didn't think were possible. I can't understand why we haven't got him already. I don't understand why Levy didn't have it in place to get Poch in as soon as Conte went.
And does it boil your blood that Chelsea are in the box seat to take Pochettino?
I can't cope. I can't cope with that at all. But I think Levy gets a bad rap. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not Levy's number one fan by any means, but his business acumen, you can't question it. But he needs somebody to take reins when it comes to the football side of it, because he doesn't seem to know what he's doing. But I think he has been let down massively by our scouting. Our scouting for players is atrocious. When you look at Brighton and the gems they find, and we end up paying 68 million for Tanguy and Ndombele, who we're talking about ripping up his contract because no one wants to buy him. I mean, that's not... I mean, everyone will say, well, that's Daniel Levy's fault, but surely he's got scouts that should be responsible for that.
Kate, listen, thank you for the call. So many of you trying to get through. We'll try and take a couple more the other side of this break.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.